I watched a mother lose everything she worked for in 60 days. Her crime? Loving her son too much. She co-signed one loan. Just one. And it destroyed her retirement, her home, and nearly her will to live. This isn't a story about bad children or failed parenting. This is about a trap that millions of parents fall into every single year. A trap that feels like love but works like poison. Here's what nobody tells you about financial guarantees. When you sign that paper for your child, you're not just helping them. You're potentially signing away your entire financial future. And the statistics are terrifying. According to recent studies, over 40% of co-signed loans end up in default. That means 4 out of 10 parents who guarantee their children's debts end up paying them. Not helping to pay them. Paying them entirely. While their children move on with their lives. Let me tell you about David. Hess, 58 years old. He guaranteed his daughter's business loan 5 years ago. The business failed within 18 months. Now David works 2 jobs. He canceled his retirement. He sold his car. His daughter? She started over. Filed bankruptcy. Moved to another state. Got a fresh start. David can't get a fresh start. Because Hess, the guarantor. The bank doesn't care that it wasn't his business. They don't care that he never saw a penny of profit. They only care about one thing. His signature on that guarantee form. This is the reality of financial guarantees that nobody discusses at family dinners. When you guarantee a debt, you become the primary target. Not the backup plan, the primary target. Banks know this. They actually prefer going after guarantors because guarantors usually have more assets. So why do we do it? Why do loving parents keep falling into this trap? The answer is heartbreaking. We confuse financial support with emotional support. We think saying no to a loan guarantee means saying no to our child's dreams. But here's the truth that took me years to understand. Real love sometimes looks like a closed door. Real support sometimes sounds like the word no. Because protecting your financial stability isn't selfish. It's actually the most loving thing you can do for your entire family. Think about it this way. If you guarantee a loan and it goes bad, who suffers? You do. Obviously. But your child suffers too. They carry the guilt. They watch their parents struggle. They lose their safety net. Because you can't be a safety net when you're drowning yourself. Let me share another story. Margaret guaranteed her son's mortgage. She thought she was helping him achieve the American dream. The housing market crashed. Her son walked away from the house. Declared bankruptcy. Started fresh. Margaret? She's 72 now. Still paying that mortgage. Still working part-time at a grocery store. Still unable to retire. Her son visits twice a year. Brings his kids. They have a nice time. But Margaret can't afford to buy her grandchildren birthday presents anymore. She can't travel to see them. She can't do anything except work and pay that mortgage payment every single month. This is what financial guarantees really look like. Not the happy moment of signing. Not the grateful hug from your child. But the years afterward. The decades sometimes. Of carrying a burden that was never supposed to be yours. Now let's talk about what happens to the parent-child relationship. You might think guaranteeing a loan brings you closer. It doesn't. It creates a power dynamic that poisons everything. Your child feels obligated. You feel anxious. Every phone call becomes stressful. Every payment date brings tension. And if the loan goes bad, the relationship often goes bad too. Resentment builds on both sides. Your child resents feeling guilty. You resent the financial burden. Love gets buried under layers of money stress and unspoken blame. Here's what financial experts won't tell you directly. But I will. If your child needs a guarantor to get a loan, they probably shouldn't get that loan. Period. End of story. The bank is telling you something important. They're saying this person is too risky to lend to a loan. Banks employ armies of analysts. They have sophisticated risk models. They have decades of data. And they're saying no. But somehow we think we know better. We think our love makes the risk disappear. It doesn't. So what should you do instead? How do you help your child without destroying your own financial future? First option. Give what you can afford to lose. Not lend. Give. If you have $5,000 you can spare, give it as a gift. No guarantees. No co-signing. No strings attached. Why is giving better than guaranteeing? Because it has limits. You can only give what you have, but a guarantee has no limits. A $10,000 loan can turn into $15,000 with fees and interest. Then $20,000. Then $30,000. It grows like a tumor. Second option. Help them build credit properly. Teach them to start small. A secured credit card. Small personal loans they can handle alone. Let them build their financial reputation through their own efforts. This actually helps them more than any guarantee ever could. Third option. Connect them with financial education resources. Help them understand budgeting. Teach them about debt management. Show them how to improve their credit score. This gives them tools that last a lifetime. A guarantee just gives them a temporary fix. But here's the hardest part. You have to be okay with watching them struggle. You have to be okay with them facing consequences. You have to be okay with them being disappointed in you. Because sometimes the most loving thing a parent can do is let their adult child experience the full weight of adult responsibilities. I know this sounds harsh. I know it feels cruel. But consider the alternative. Consider Margaret working at 72. Consider David with his 2 jobs. Consider the mother I mentioned at the beginning who lost everything. Is that really more loving than saying no? Let me address the guilt directly. Because I know that's what stops most parents. The guilt of saying no. The fear of seeming unsupportive. The worry that your child will think you don't believe in them. Here's what you need to understand. Believing in someone doesn't mean taking on their financial risks. You can believe in your child's potential while still protecting your financial stability. You can support their dreams while maintaining healthy boundaries. You can love them deeply while saying no to dangerous financial arrangements. These things are not contradictory. They're actually complementary. Think about what you're teaching your child when you guarantee their debt. You're teaching them that someone else should carry their risk. You're teaching them that consequences can be transferred. You're teaching them that they don't have to be fully responsible for their own choices. Is that really the lesson you want to impart? Now compare that to what you teach when you say no. You teach them self-reliance. You teach them to build their own creditworthiness. You teach them that actions have consequences. You teach them to make decisions they can handle independently. Which lesson serves them better in the long run? I want to talk about the psychology of financial guarantees for a moment. There's a phenomenon called moral hazard. It means people take bigger risks when someone else bears the consequences. When you guarantee your child's loan, you create moral hazard. They can take risks they couldn't take alone. And if things go wrong, you pay the price. This isn't about distrusting your child. It's about understanding human nature. Even the most honest, well-intentioned person behaves differently when the safety net appears. They might take that slightly riskier job. They might be less careful with payments. They might make choices they wouldn't make if they bore the full consequence alone. Here's a question I want you to consider. What would happen to your family if you had to pay your child's guaranteed debt? Would you lose your home? Would you have to postpone retirement? Would you need to ask your other children for help? Would your spouse's security be threatened? These aren't hypothetical questions. These are real possibilities you must consider. And here's another question. If you wouldn't take out that loan for yourself, why would you guarantee it for someone else? If the risk is too high for you, it's too high for your child too. Your risk tolerance doesn't magically increase just because someone else is nominally responsible for the payments. Let me share one final story. This one has a different ending. Robert's daughter asked him to co-sign her car loan. Robert said no. His daughter was furious. She didn't speak to him for 3 months. It was the hardest 3 months of Robert's life. But he held firm. His daughter eventually got a smaller loan on her own. For a used car instead of new. She made every payment on time because she knew nobody would bail her out. 2 years later, her credit score had improved dramatically. She qualified for a mortgage by herself. She called Robert to thank him. She finally understood. That's the hidden blessing in saying no. You force your child to develop real financial strength. You force them to build genuine creditworthiness. You force them to prove to themselves that they can handle adult responsibilities. And when they succeed, they own that success completely. Compare that to the guaranteed loan scenario. Even if everything goes perfectly, even if every payment is made on time, your child knows they couldn't have done it alone. They know they needed your guarantee. That knowledge undermines their confidence. It keeps them dependent. It prevents them from developing true financial independence. So here's my final message. Saying no to financial guarantees isn't about being stingy. It's not about lacking faith in your child. It's not about being unsupportive or unloving. It's about understanding that real love sometimes requires tough choices. It's about protecting both your future and theirs. Your financial stability is not selfish. It's necessary. It's what allows you to be there for emergencies. It's what prevents you from becoming a burden to your children later. It's what models healthy financial boundaries. It's what teaches the next generation about responsibility and consequences. The next time your child asks you to guarantee a loan, remember Margaret. Remember David. Remember that mother who lost everything. And then remember Robert's daughter who built her own credit and called to say, thank you. Which story do you want to be yours? The choice is in your hands. Choose wisely. Choose love. Even when love looks like the word no.